And welcome to the ministry. I believe you are right. His Excellency the President, in his own wisdom and vision, and in line with the manifesto promise, that Ghana's aviation sector will see great infrastructural development, created this ministry to make sure we use that as a vehicle to achieve that. And like I said, the West African sub-region needs an aviation hub, and Ghana has placed itself strategically to make sure that we realize this. Now we are on course. As you are aware, the new terminal building, appropriately called T3, was started by the previous government. When we took over power in 2017, it was 23% done up. Work done was estimated at 23%. We've continued, and now we are almost 100%. And very soon it will be handed over to the Ghana Airports Company Limited, the agency responsible of managing the airports. And His Excellency the President will duly commission it at the appropriate time in October. Okay. Yes. And if we take the Kumasi Airport, like I said, or I've been saying, Kumasi Airport is long overdue as an international airport. Likewise, the Tamale airports. And government has also cut the sword. His Excellency did us the honor of cutting the sword just last week to commission, the sword cutting was done by His Excellency last week to commission start of work. And if you go there right now, you can see that there's a lot of activity going on at the airport, the phase 2 site. And this is going to cost 66,350 million euro. And stipulated time of completion is 24 months. We wish they could finish it earlier by employing more hands on deck to make sure we enjoy the airport's usage as quickly as possible. Likewise, the Tamale Airport. Unfortunately for Tamale Airport, we are yet to secure funding, so we are on course to do the paperwork. Then we'll send it to Cabinet and take it to Parliament for approval before we also start the Tamale phase 2. Over there, it will be, before that, I want to talk about the Kumasi facilities. We are going to extend the runway from 1981 meters to 2,300 meters. And we are also going to have a brand new terminal, which can also hold, when it's stretched, 1.5 million passengers per annum. And currently it's 400,000 passengers per annum if stretched. And I believe ancillary works are also going to be done. And it will qualify as an international airport. And I'm in talks with the various airlines to help us achieve this goal by their tickets reading Kumasi, Accra, Paris, Kumasi, Accra, Abuja, Kumasi, Accra, Dubai, etc., etc. I'm still in talks with them, and I think favorably we'll have a good answer. We are also, for any international airport, going to replicate all the immigration, the customs, the security, everything there. And it can provide a lot of jobs, about 1,400, which will be very good. To come to Tamale, we are going to make Tamale Airport international as well and build a Hajj village over there instead of passengers trooping from there to Accra to be in the mercy of the weather, etc. We will fly direct from Tamale Airport. So these are basically the structures we want to put in place. Apart from that, even this morning, I opened the ECOWAS conference on the validation of reports as to the uniformity of taxes and fees in the sub-region. some are quite high, and they then tend to be an incentive for travelers. We want to open up the skies as well, and then also most important of all, have a maintenance, repair and overhaul project in the sub-region. And like I said, Ghana is well poised to host us. This will bring in huge infrastructure as well as great economy to improve our economy as well. So I believe we also have to boost tourism vis-a-vis the fire aviation, because last year we had 1.2 million passengers coming. They were all tourists, the rest were investors and Ghanaians who travel. So I believe the sky is the limit. We need to deepen the infrastructure, provide more infrastructure for visitors and passengers to use. We are also thinking of having airstrips and helipads to make sure that when people touch down in Accra, they can just hire or be a passenger on board some of these to visit our various regions and tourist locations.
Okay, so we talk of the Terminal 3 that has come on board. We have the Phase 2 of Kumasi. What plans are we actually putting in place to ensure that we maximize the use of these facilities in terms of attracting more passengers? Are we looking at maybe starting some chartered flights, among other things?
We have, to answer that, I set up an inter-sectoral group or committee. It's between us, the Ministry of Aviation and the Ministry of Tourism. They were charged to bring on board some of these proposals. They have done the charter, and we are going to study, send it to Cabinet and adopt. It is true, yes. Because if you look at the world map, between us and Brazil, or the South American states, it's like 5 hours, 4 hours. If you are going there right now to Colombia or Mexico, you will spend at least 24, 27 hours. And I believe we need to do a rapprochement between the two continents to make sure, especially from Ghana to there and South Africa to there. It's very, very short. We need to promote that. I've also had visits from the ambassadors who are also thinking about similar charter flights. So we are on course on that as well.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned the Kumasi terminal, you indicated that you want to make it a place of origin. That was from your speech on the sword curtain. Does it also mean that we are looking to have a time when international flights can actually land and take off from these areas?
It will depend on the aircraft. The very big ones like Emirates and BA might find it difficult landing. The airport cannot contain that big aircraft. But for the 737 series, it can. And some of them fly as long as 5 hours, 6 hours. So we can do that. Yeah, to fly to maybe Rwanda or fly to Portugal. TAP Portugal uses a similar aircraft, and I believe it will be possible. Yeah.
Okay, so that means they will take off from Kumasi.
Yes, sure. You know, Tamale can also serve the Sahelian region. You know, there is still a problem with intra-African connectivity. We need to promote that, and the regional airports can serve as hubs for some of these airlines. Like somebody can set up an airline and have Kumasi as the base. So the aircraft will fly from Kumasi straight to wherever it is designated to fly to. And it's a possibility. That makes it very exciting for the airline industry. And I'll use this medium to appeal to our businessmen and women entrepreneurs to make sure that they take advantage of the conducive atmosphere. You know, the government reduced or abolished, not reduced even, abolished 17.5% of VAT. And that should be a great incentive to our local airline operators to take advantage of And Baby Jet Airlines, I'm sure, will be coming on board soon. There is Unity Air, they are also working. And then the famous home-based carrier is also coming on board. So it's exciting. I know about 1 or 2, 3 who are also considering coming. And I believe holding discussions with them will know exactly what their thinking is and advise accordingly.
Okay. Now, you mentioned quite a number of stuff here, but I want to get into it. Now, we talk of the incentives. One of the incentives has been the spare parts. Recently, we noticed you were interacting with the airlines to have this, to check it and have it reduced. How far have you come with that particular initiative?
I just had a chat with our executive at this meeting. They are yet to have the meeting to crystallize the ideas so that we can present it to the Ministry of Finance and to Cabinet and to Parliament, yes.
Okay, and with a home-based carrier, we knew you were interacting with some 3 airlines, Air Mauritius, Ethiopian Air, and Africa World Air. Have there been interest from other airlines, or you've already chosen a partner?
We haven't. We cannot, because we have to seek permission from Cabinet. I have to present this to Cabinet before we decide who to go with. We are still at the stage of doing evaluation and analysis of all the proposals that we have received from Abu Dhabi Aviation, from Ethiopian Airlines, from Air Mauritius, and we are also having technical advice from GE Aviation, which is very, very good.
Okay, so we are still evaluating.
Of course.
Is anybody looking right on the selection so far?
Cabinet will decide. We will recommend something to Cabinet.
Okay. Now, looking at the domestic front, you realize that there's this system of monopoly going on with Africa World Air. You mentioned a number of airlines coming, but can we know specifically when we are likely to see them? I mean, Ghanaians have been waiting for quite some time. I know.
You see, it's a forced monopoly. We cannot take them on for enjoying the monopoly. The only problem I have with them is the cost of the tickets, and I've called them here about 5 times to talk to them for the reduction. Be it that the government has abolished 17.5%. So the passengers should enjoy to the maximum the benefits of this positive move by government. And the government doing so has been praised at every meeting that this has come up. Government has received a loud applause from operators within the aviation industry that is the way to go. And Starbow, I don't think they chose to have that accident. So left with only Africa World Airlines. I can see, have the empathy to feel for all of us who travel. Because I don't want to be disappointed, travel by road to Kumasi. And I believe other people should bear with them. And they are trying their best. And we need to keep them on course to continue to provide the services they are providing. And we are all praying very hard that Baby Jet is the one to come first. That one I can tell you on authority, because Captain Samojan came here to brief me himself with his team. And like I said, the Unity Air is also on the ground. He's going through the processes to make sure that all his papers are correct before he starts. And the home-based carrier, we have a charge, marching orders by His Excellency to be able to come up before the end of the year or by the close of the year. So we are on course.
That's interesting. Yeah. So with these airlines coming on board, once upon a time we already had about 4 or 5 of them, but they all fell because of various, problems that they had in there. This time around, how are we going to ensure that these airlines coming do not also fall along the way? You see, for the policy of business for this government or with this government, we make the conducive atmosphere ready for business people to take advantage of. Airline business is not a joke. Airline business in Ghana
All these other airlines, they were all privately owned by entities and individuals. How they do their business is their business. We put out the policies to help them achieve their goals. But how they do their business is their business in the sense that I cannot go and sit in their boardroom to advise unless they come to me, or unless from afar I see something going wrong or a suggestion that can help them. Some went in for wet leases that were prolonged, I hear, officially. Some had boardroom problems. And I believe those coming have learnt their lessons, including the one we are going to have very soon as a home-based carrier. Ghana is not going to own the business. We are getting out there with strategic investors and partners to make sure we chaperone them into being. We will have a stake, and at the appropriate time, I think the details, like I said, we are still working out the details. We'll put them out for everybody to see. So it's a question of the vision of the entrepreneur. And I pray to God that they will pass through here and our agencies to make sure they are well advised to do their business.
Okay. Now, we also, still on the domestic front, we realized that there was this incident with Africa World and a disabled person. Looking at the provisions on the Ghana Civil Aviation page, because of the size of the aircraft, they were justified in a way. But if that be the case, does it mean that disabled persons here cannot fly?
No,
what
they
are
will
we
fly.
doing about it?
They will fly. Is the retrofitting of the aircraft. Okay. This one doesn't have it. But I can tell you the subsequent ones will have. Yeah.
Okay. So are we putting in place like rules to ensure that the subsequent ones?
There needn't be rules. Okay. They will have. They will have.
Okay. So basically, overall, since you took over, since you started this particular administration, the aviation industry, what has this growth been like for the sector?
I believe it's been phenomenal. But for the Starboy incident, we're building up the domestic passenger throughput to a level. But now, with that incident, our is only in the air for 4.5 hours, which is very low. It could go up to 7 hours, you know. But short distances and turn around, etc., they do only 4.5. Those days that we had about 5, everybody had a lot to carry. So I believe we will grow the domestic passenger throughput, and also when we finish these airports like Tamale and Kumasi to augment KIA, we would have grown the passenger throughput also for international, because these are the domestic airlines are the ones we are going to use to transport everybody from the regions to transit in Accra or be in Accra. So it's a huge responsibility, and I believe we are ready to face the challenge. All the stakeholders within the aviation sector will get together to make sure we grow the passenger throughput to bring in more business into the aviation sector. And it also boils down to the maintenance and how we handle ourselves at our new premises, for instance. You know, at the end of the day, passengers want to travel in comfort and in dignity. So everything that will add comfort to their experience will be done to make sure Ghana becomes the preferred country of choice and the airport the preferred hub for the sub-region.
Okay, and recently IATA was also calling for the ratification of the Cape Town Convention. How are we making any steps towards having this done?
Yes, I think the Cape Town Convention is a must, like the ICAO Convention that dates back to 1944. We have the Yamoussoukro decision, we call it the YD, and now we have the SATAM, the Single African Air Transport. It's all to aid intra-African trade travel and business in general. And I believe now, I think we are not doing badly. You know, we have Rwanda, for instance, flying through Abuja to Accra. It's a new aircraft, for instance. We have Ethiopia Airlines. They've put a new aircraft on this route, Accra Addis. South Africa Airways has put a new aircraft on the Washington route as well as the Accra route. And I believe Egypt Air Maroc, and other airlines also follow suit. And travel within Africa will become easier for us.
Nima Market, located in Nima, a Muslim community, is popular for affordable foodstuffs and livestock. So today is Eid Mubarak, and that marks the end of the Ramadan fast for Muslims. Today we are here at the Nima Market, and it's a popular market known for Muslims because it's found in a Muslim community. If you're familiar with this market, you know that it's usually choked with traders and buyers, and today the story is quite different, and they're telling me that it's because of the celebrations. But one thing I'm finding very, very common here today is the sale of poultry, and I'm going to speak to some of the traders to find out how the market has been for them prior to this day and even this morning. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I can see that you sell fowls. How has the market been, especially because of the celebration?
Yesterday they buy small, but today they don't buy. I don't know say if they go pre-camera. They'll come and buy, they don't go buy, but today the market come low.
Yesterday, how many did they buy?
Yesterday, I bring 150, they buy only 50.
And this morning, how far?
Today, this morning, I sell only 3.
The story is no different for this lady who also sells poultry. She is hoping that customers will visit her stand later in the day. She's telling me that yesterday she sold about 20 fowls, but then today it's not been so good. But she's also hoping that after the Muslims are done with their morning prayers, they would come and patronize some of the poultry. Although many shops were closed at the entrance to the market, it was a normal day in the main market square. Here, customers sought after various products ranging from clothing to edibles.
I am now doing my shopping because I was gathering funds during the week. Now I have enough to buy all I need.
Because of work, I was so busy to come to the market. I am hopeful I will get all that I need from this market.